انا دايما بحسد توني، لانه اخاف عليه من عيني، لانه دائما محاط بالجميلات والحلوات
اه
والصبايا.
توني على طول صوره كله مدلع نفسه.
طيب.
Naveen, I like your background.
Do you remember, do you
Yep.
have any remembrance when it was taken? I think you are the one who knows very well how it was taken, not only when it was taken.
That was
Yeah.
like 10 years ago, almost 10 years ago.
Yes, almost 10 years ago. I'm really proud of it. Serving with Dr. Ahmed Saada is one of the blessings of life, of serving with Rotary. I mean it.
توني افتح المايك يا توني، افتح المايك عندك.
والله اي واحد بيشتغل مع احمد سعاده it's an honor. And
Yes.
Greetings everyone from South Africa.
And PDG Nejad, just to show you, Tom, I mean, he was our district governor when we were all 2450, when we were all the whole countries together. And until now, in Egypt, I mean, everybody loves Nejad. I mean,
please.
Yes.
You're right, Naveen, you're right.
Yes.
He's our DG till now.
Hello, Tony. How are you?
Hi, Tony.
Hi, Naveen. Hi, Tari. Hi,
كيفك حبيبي؟
هلا Tony.
Hi, Claudia.
Hello, Claudia.
Hi, everyone.
Claudia.
Hi.
Good to see you, Claudia. How are you?
Good to see you. How are you? Good. Hi, Tom.
Hey Claudia. Good to see you.
جورج حبيبي جورج.
Hello.
How
are you, PDG
طارق معاك يا
Tom?
جورج، طارق حلوة
Hey
معاك يا
George, how are
جورج.
أهلا
you?
طارق. PDG Tom, how are you?
I am doing just fine, and I hope you are, George.
We miss you. Yeah, we're going to see you in Belgrade, inshallah.
Hello, George. How are you?
Yeah, how are you? Fine. Good to see you again.
Yes, great to see you.
Great to see you.
منور يا جورج، منور.
طول عمرك منور بأهلك.
أهلا أيمن من أسيوط. ازيك يا أيمن؟ أنت unmute.
We have to speak in English because we have our guests from different
Yes.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, PDG Nejad.
Hi, George.
Good evening.
Good to see you again.
BD George, always lovely to see you to get together. Thank you.
Yes. Hope to see you very soon.
Inshallah.
Hello, Grace.
I'm sorry, I'm using my iPhone. I'm not at home. That's why I'm using my iPhone. So
hello,
at least we can.
Anne-Marie, how are you, Anne-Marie?
Hello, how are you, Anne-Marie? How are
you?
Yes, Tom, classmate Tom.
How are you, Anne-Marie?
So good to see
Anne-Marie,
you.
how are you?
Yeah, very good.
And our main guest here. So in this case, we will be able to finish on time. Okay, so I will leave this to our Honorary Secretary of Rotary Club of ElTahrir, and I really want to thank everyone who joined hands and to the districts that are with us, and everyone who is here taking out of his time. And I will leave it for the official openings. Okay, for Hadi to take over and to start it officially.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Good to have you all on board. Looking forward to a lovely meeting. Sorry. Looking forward, Mr. Gump, to your ideas about how to improve membership. And I would like to just leave the floor for Mohammed Kemal, our president, better known among all of us, his friends, as Bibo, to start off the meeting with a few words.
You need to unmute yourself, ya Mohammed. Mohammed, unmute yourself.
It seems that mute automatically. I am unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, now we can.
Can you hear me like this?
Yes.
Yeah, very good. Good evening, everyone. I'm Mohammed Kamal. I'm the current president of Rotary ElTahrir, and I wish to welcome everyone and thank everyone for participating in this session. As Naveen said, of course, this is the membership month, so we have no better topic to talk about than membership, especially that membership is very much considered as the backbone of Rotary. First, of course, I'd like to... Am I being heard or...
Yes, yes.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, very good. First, I'd like to thank Past District Governor Tom GUMP for participating and taking out of his time. Of course, also the District Governor of District 9400, okay, Mr. George Senosha, if I'm pronouncing it right. And of course, our distinguished District Governor Sharif Adib, if he's online with us from District 2451. And of course, I'd like to also thank the District Governor of the District 2452, all the participants, the past district governors, the assistant governor, current and past, everyone who is attending, and of course, a very special thanks, excuse me, to the Rotary actors that have graced us with their presence today, of course. We have an interesting agenda for the meeting today. We will be hearing very shortly from our district, from Naveen on the international meets concept. Then we have the opening remarks of our District Governor Sharif Adib and District Governor Dr. George Senosha. Then, of course, our Post District Secretary Maisa Zidan is going to be talking about the updates about the membership. She is the member seminar chair this year. She's going to be talking about the updates. Then, of course, our Post District Governor Ahmed Saada shall be acting as moderator, and he will be introducing you, Tom. Then you will be speaking, Tom, about the current state of membership and where we are going from here. And then, of course, we will make some little time, which is not on the agenda, for Q&As. So is Mr. Sharif Adib with us? Did he join? I can't see him.
I don't think he is. Yeah.
I didn't see. Maybe we can continue.
Adi, can you see him?
DG.
No, he's not. He's not on.
He was suffering a little flu, so I don't know whether he still has his voice or not. So we continue with
Dr. George.
Yes, with Dr. George.
Senosha.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Dr. George, are you with us?
I am with. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to be sharing with everyone about membership and how from District 9400 we see it and what can be done for it to be an easy task. So from our perspective as District 9400, if you look at the Rotary here in the part of our world, Rotary is not that known. And we have got a huge duty to make it known. And we have started from last year, really publicizing Rotary and inviting people, influential people who can really understand Rotary. And we know that if they can start talking about it, people will start to follow. One of the most important aspect of that is to localize it. We know that Rotary, there are myths about Rotary that it belongs to certain people and it does not belong to other people. So the people are not sure whether they belong or they don't belong. So if we don't localize it, they will never relate to what it is. The other concept that I want to share is that, parents listen to children. And if you look at what Rotary does for children, we are not actually tapping into that space as it should be. We have got the RILAs, we've got the interactors, the exchange, and you name it. Those are the values that Rotary is adding to those children, and the parents are seeing it. And lastly, it's going to be, I'm a little bit disappointed if I don't see the club president on here, because this relates to them as well. Now, if I go out as District Governor George Senosha and get hold of a prospective member, and I take the member through what Rotary is all about and what does it take for this person to become a member. Now, what I have told that prospective member, will the rest of my club members or club members tell the same story? There, I think we've got a challenge. Because oftentimes, the prospective members, if they know that they have to pay the dues, the immediate question will be, what is the value proposition for me? Now, is this answer, these are the answer that I'm going to give. Is it a uniform answer which is going to be given by every Rotarian, or are we going to differ? So on that note, I think there's a lot of work to be done on that avenue so that without stuttering, we tell the story of the value proposition without mincing any words. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Next, we have Naveen. Would you like to give us a little...
Thank you, Dr. Senosha.
Thank you, Doctor. I think, yes, one of the things I believe I already said it in the beginning when we were talking about the concept of being one of the main reasons or one of the main aspects that differs Rotary from anything else is being international, being from all over the world. And we look at this meeting, we are from several continents with different times, and we are all here together enjoying the membership of Rotary. So I believe there is nothing like the fellowship that brings us together, and the international speakers that we are aiming to have. I always seek the help of PDG Ahmed Saada and PDG Nijad. They are my two angels that I usually refer to. And then last year I had Anne-Marie added to the list. And I'm really lucky enough to have Tom GUMP also added to the list as we go along to the suggestions of international speakers that will bring the experience to the table and to everyone together. So I would like also to mention and to announce that we are going to have Trustee Pearl in November during the Rotary Foundation month. And in between, there are another two speakers that I'm negotiating with Dr. Ahmed Saada about, so that we are going to have someone about the economic development and someone about the future of Rotary. So these are the two incoming speakers, plus Trustee Pearl. So I think we leave it now with Dr. Ahmed Saada to introduce to us Tom. And I hope that everybody read the article about Tom GUMP in the Rotarian, the Rotary magazine. It was really a very good one and an excellent introduction. So that would be an excellent reading for everyone to read. And so please, so that we do not, we have enough time to listen to Tom. And also, I'm sure that we are going to have a lot of Q&A. So we start. Thank you.
Thank you, Naveen. Good evening, my friends and fellow Rotarians. It's good morning at Tom's end. It's good evening here in Egypt. I know protocol is observed, but before introducing our distinguished speaker, I would like to welcome a very special friend, past District Governor Claudia Hendry from District 2000 in Switzerland. Claudia is serving as Rotary International Seminar Leader last year and this year again. So it's great to have you with us, Claudia. Actually, it gives me a real pleasure and a great honor to introduce a great friend and a genuine Rotarian and an RI, one of the RI leaders, top leaders, past District Governor Thomas A. GUMP, aide to Rotary International President Stephanie Urchik. I've known Tom for so many years now. We met a lot of times. Tom serves as presidential advisor to the Rotary International 2025 Calgary Convention Committee, and also for the 2025 Presidential Peace Conference that will take place in Istanbul, Turkey, this coming February. He serves on the boards of directors of the past District Governors and Friends Fellowship, E-Club Fellowship, and a Multi-District Pets Alliance. Tom served as an International Assembly Learning Facilitator. We did that together a few years ago. He served as General Chair of the 2021 Rotary Zones 25B and 29 Institute that took place in Houston, Texas, and also a co-chair of the 2020 Virtual Institute. And he also served as President's representative to multiple districts. Tom is an accomplished Rotarian with a long-standing commitment to growing Rotary membership, raising funds and participating in projects for the Rotary Foundation, promoting Rotary, and inspiring leadership. Tom will serve as the chairperson of Rotary International's Membership Growth Committee next year. He is a former regional leader, Rotary coordinator for zones 25B and 29. He founded, helped form, or inspired more than a dozen new and creative clubs around the world, including the first club in the world to serve veterans, and the first club in the world to focus on ending human trafficking. He also formed a Rotary Community Corps for refugees, which serves hundreds of refugees in Minnesota in the United States. He was named the gold level of the Membership Society of New Member Sponsors for bringing in more than 50 members into his club. We need you to visit Egypt, Tom.
Yes.
Bring us some more members here. Zones 28 and 32 awarded Tom with its Individual Membership Innovation Award. As a speaker and as a writer, Tom inspires others to grow Rotary membership regularly, speaking on the topic of membership at all levels of Rotary. His tips for attracting and retaining members and some of the clubs he has formed have been featured in various Rotary publications. Tom also fundraises for the Rotary Foundation's End Polio Now initiative or campaign. As district governor, he led his district to become one of the only the third district in the world to ever have all of its clubs designated as 100% Paul Harris Fellows, 100% of all the clubs in his district. Also, as district governor, he led his district to raise over $642,000 for the Rotary Foundation's End Polio Now campaign, and he was awarded the Regional Polio Free World Award. As District 5950's Endowment and Major Gift Chair, he helped his district to raise more than $3 million as part of its recent $1 million journey. He has led and partnered on 20 international and district grants totaling close to probably $4 million. And accordingly, the TRF trustees awarded him the citation for meritorious service in recognition of his outstanding service to the Rotary Foundation. Tom has a very long CV, very impressive CV, and on his CV he doesn't mention that we go shopping at the same store because we're wearing the same necktie, apparently. Exactly. So anyway, Tom is going to speak to us about the current state of membership and where we are going from here. Tom, we are very much honored to have you with us, and the floor is yours. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. And it's truly my honor to be here with all you district governors and past district governors, but most importantly, all my friends in Egypt, South Africa, and around the world. And Ahmad, I appreciate that introduction, but Ahmad, always, we talk about it's important for membership to feel like you belong. So Ahmad serves a very important role in my Rotary experience, and that is when we go to a party, I always sit next to Ahmad because we're the two worst dancers. I'm the worst because we just play on our feet and we don't move. But it's great to be here in Membership Month. And, Mohammed was kind to say that, membership is really important to us. And, a lot of times there's always a discussion, what is Rotary? Is Rotary a membership organization? Is it a service organization? When you look in our code of policies, that's never a way to start off a good speech, talk about the code of policies. But it's important because Article 5 says we are a membership organization. So I like to say Rotary is a membership organization that does the world's best service. Because, of course, no one joins Rotary to do nothing. They join to engage, and they stay. We have an all-membership survey every year. It should be coming out soon for 2023, but the 2022 says people stay for service. So membership is so important. But, why do we want to grow membership? PDD George, why do we want to grow membership?
To increase our impact on the community. One of them. There are so many other ones though.
That's right. We want to increase our impact in the community. So this is an all-new presentation that I have never delivered before. I put it together Saturday. And, I was asked, where are we? You hear all these different numbers around the world, and we're planning for our next Membership Growth Committee meeting, which will be September 10th. But these are the newest numbers as of July. And if you look at it from July 1st, 2015 until today, basically, Asia has grown. But the rest of the world, if you're moving across to the right of your screen, Australia and New Zealand, which is one of our 2 pilot projects, they have decreased despite having that pilot project going. Europe, Africa, Middle East, it has gone down slightly. Rotary in Great Britain and Ireland has gone down from 50,000 to 32. Latin America has decreased, and North America has decreased. So if you look at it, Asia is growing. So I'm on a lot of membership calls monthly. I just got off one last week with the North American directors, and it was stated that Brian King, who's the head staff person in membership development, was saying it's really important to start clubs because in parts of the world like where I live, in North America, we only started 52 clubs last year, and we've lost more than 52 clubs. So, it's interesting because we always ask, and I'm sure it's the same in Egypt from the times I've been there virtually. We ask, how can we grow membership? Well, George told us the why. So keep that why in mind. So Rotary has a vision statement. This is where we want to be as an organization. And it says together we, because it takes all of us. One person can do a lot. I see a lot of people on the screen who could do a lot, but together we could do so much more. Together we see a world where people unite to take action, to create lasting change across the globe in our communities and in ourselves. And we do that through the Rotary Action Plan. So Stephanie's big deal this year, President Stephanie, is she wants to grow Rotary by using the action plan. So George told us the reason why we want to have more hands and hearts for service. So we're Rotary, we want to reach that vision statement, and we want to grow in order to get there. But how do we grow? When I thought about it this weekend, really, there's only 3 things we have to do to grow Rotary. And I don't care if you focus on 1, number 2, or number 3, just talking about Rotary as leaders in your area of the world will grow Rotary because you have that bully pulpit, as we say in North America, where people want to do what you ask them to do for the betterment of Rotary. So one thing we could do is attract members. Ask everyone you know who would be a good quality member for Rotary, whether you worship with them, whether you work with them, whether they're your relatives, whether they're your friends, neighbors, workout partners. Ask them to join if you think they would fit. We have to engage, like PDG George was saying, engage our current members in local projects, in international projects, in social events. And then we need to form new clubs. And I see Dr. Jacqueline Wilson, who is one person on the screen who has started a new club recently in the last few years of Egyptian doctors who all came from Egypt originally, but now they're practicing around the world. And it's amazing, even from their first year, how much they have done. But there's one other thing we need to consider. So those are the only 3 things. If you think of a creative idea, that's the 4th one, let me know. But it usually fits under these 3. But what wraps around all of that is club culture or the club experience. And the club experience matters more than anything else. I've often heard it said that no one leaves Rotary International, they leave a club. And it makes sense because you're asked by someone, usually 90% of the people who join Rotary didn't come in through a Leads program or something like that. They were asked to join by their friends. So they know that one small area of Rotary, which is our club experience. They don't know that there's a district or there's a zone or that you can join a fellowship or an action group or that you can go and watch Ahmad and Claudia do IA by being a paid observer or council legislation. They don't know about all those things. So it's important, first of all, in new member orientations let them know, but also improve our club experience. So the club experience is basically how things work in your club, how things get done. And if you have a good culture, then you're raising money for TRF, you're recruiting new members. Everything kind of happens itself. You're doing more service projects locally and internationally. You're raising more money for polio. But when you have this good experience, it helps you attract new members because when they visit, they feel this is a vibrant club. They're doing things. I see those people laughing at that party. I want to be a part of that club. and they're honored when you ask them to be. Even if they can't join for a reason or two, they're happy when you ask them to join. Then we have to engage our members. And this is all about the retention. And we have this participant-centered approach now at Rotary, where a couple of years ago they reorganized so that we're all about the participants. And the participant isn't just our Rotary members and not just our Rotarians or Rotaractors. It's everyone that experiences Rotary, whether it's part of a Rotary Community Corps, we're working to serve a community together with the community themselves, or if it's a youth exchange student or a Rotec student, anyone that meets us. And then forming new clubs. Having a good culture sometimes leads to satellite clubs, companion clubs, service clubs, other clubs that either stay a part of your club or that go off and start their own, but you do things with them even after they start their own club. So I'm going to talk about, that's kind of why we want to grow, how we grow, but let's talk about the new things that Rotary's doing that's actually going to help us going forward here. And I'd love to hear from our Rotaractors, because I spent an hour and a half with John Hannes on the phone on Friday about all the great things that are happening in Rotary International for Rotaractors. So I'm glad to see there's 4 Rotaract clubs here. But membership leads is something that's changing in Rotary. You know, we have, at the last bullet point on the bottom right, you see a 10.6 conversion rate. So these are people calling up Rotary and saying, I want to join. I saw your website, or I've seen your people doing wonderful local service or international service, or I heard about my neighbor who's hosting an exchange student. They want to join, but no one has asked them to join. 10.6 is a really low conversion rate. And we've been studying this for years. We've been trying to get it to go. But right now, the current system actually goes to the district, and there's a series of steps before they get assigned to a club and they get invited to a club. So over the last year, Rotary International has been working with Salesforce, which is a company that works for-profit companies and nonprofit companies, but they're helping us change this lead program. And nothing always starts exactly when it's supposed to start. But when I say it's starting, it should sometime in the next few months be working. And what it's going to do is it's going to be different than our current leads program, because instead of going to the district, it's going to go through a series of analysis of questions by the person getting on the computer and saying, I want to join Rotary, will lead them straight to a club. So we think this is going to have a big deal effect, and we're going to attract a lot of members and keep them in. So that's the attraction part. So we all have to do our part as Rotary leaders to ask people to join, but this is one thing that Rotary International is going to do to make things better and make it easier for us. We have so many great tools in Rotary, whether it be membership or the strategic plan. And if you ever need those tools and you're finding them hard to find on the computer, just reach out to any of the leaders here on the screen or to me, and we'll be happy to help you get those tools. So when it comes, so we bring them in, we have to engage them. You know, we get about 150,000 new Rotarians every year. The sad part is we lose about 160,000. We haven't really gained membership since President Shekar, and that was just 1 year. But the scary part to me is we lose 10% of our new members within the first year. And then we lose 50% within the first year, and the first 3 years. Now, after 3 years, they're like all of us. They're spending their time at night because they're passionate about Rotary. We're not going to lose them. They have their friends. They're true Rotarians. But we have to work on trying to get them not to leave so quickly. Because, you know, when they leave, you know, Rotary is like any other business. And people coming into Rotary, they join for a certain reason. If we give them what they want, then they stay. If they don't, then they leave. And sometimes when they leave, they haven't had a good experience, so they may not be the best public image folks. So Najid will tell you, you know, we have to be good with our public image, but a lot of that public image is formed by what they see in the club. And, you know, we're moving in the right direction because these cause-based clubs that we've been focusing on for the last number of years, they are attracting people to Rotary, and they're staying for the cause. And they stay there a little bit longer because of the cause, and then they get to be true Rotarians. You know, it was mentioned the veterans group. You know, when we started that group, a lot of them were there to serve veterans, but they didn't really want to be as much involved as Rotary as we all would be. But then when they heard we helped form the United Nations and we're ending polio and we're for peace, their goals lined up with our goals. And so now they're true Rotarians, just like all of us. So if you have an idea for a new club, maybe Jacqueline will help you. And of course, RI will help you. President Stephanie and I are happy to help. When they do the studies about forming new clubs, it shows that roughly the areas of the world who are growing are the ones starting the new clubs. The areas of the world that are shrinking are not forming new clubs. And the North American directors call a few days ago, Brian King said, I want to get the statistic right. I think it was 52% of our districts have not started a new club in 5 years. So it's interesting. When I started our first club in our district, it's been a while since we started a club, there was a lot of resistance because people think, hey, that's going to take away from our current club. But we got that so much that we asked Brian King to study that, and they did a study, and 88% of members joining a new club are new to Rotary or returning from Rotary. And it can be argued that some of that remaining 12% may have left if they didn't have a new club to go to. So, of course, we have wonderful clubs. And I'm in a traditional club. I would never leave our traditional club. But the new clubs have people serve in a way that's different. My club, I love it to death, and I would never leave it, like I said. But we do things such as we pick up trash along the highway. We make sandwiches for the hungry. And we're always doing new things. We rake leaves for the elderly. But my son has just gone off to college Sunday before last, a week ago, and he is starting up a Rotaract club in Duluth, which is 2.5 miles north of where I live. Their club will be different from our club. They want to focus, mostly the people who he's bringing together, mostly want to focus on the environment. It's not that they didn't come and pick up trash. They won't do that, but they would rather focus in one area and have great impact in one area. And that's why these cause-based clubs, especially in our new clubs, are having great success. In our district right now, our 2 fastest growing clubs are new clubs within the last few years. Our Network for Global Travelers, and then our End Human Trafficking Club. And I have lots of stories that we can tell about this, but I want to get through this presentation so I can get to your questions. So when I look at Rotary today, August 26th, where are the real opportunities? Really, we can form new clubs. That would be a huge, if we do that, we're going to capture more people. It's not that our existing clubs aren't great, they are, but let's face it, a lot of us, I've asked all my friends that I know to come to our club, but sometimes they can't because they can't come to a Tuesday morning. They don't want to go to a country club for a breakfast, or they just want to meet at night or on the weekends. Now, the LEADS program, I think, is going to help us a lot. And I put what area of the 3 these fall under. So when the new LEADS come out, we need to work with our clubs to let them know you're going to be getting LEADS. Let's go ahead. And there'll be a drip campaign, meaning letters and emails will come from Rotary International, but we need to let people know that's there. We need to engage our members by making sure when they come in, we get them on a committee, or we get them with a group of friends, or we bring them in. If we're getting one and they leave, bring them in classes, whatever we need to engage them. And, one of the best things we can do is ask them what they want to do and give that to them. So there's lots of tools out there, right? But one of the things that we really need to do is we need to make sure we're giving our Rotarians what we want. So what I think the easiest thing to do is to do some kind of assessment. Now, Rotary's got 7 different types of assessments, but you don't have to have a long, fancy survey. And if you want to do a membership satisfaction survey, if you want to survey your board of directors or survey the members, we just have to ask. And Rotary often asks us to do it once a year. Why once a year? Because you're constantly having new people join your club, and then you have individuals leaving your club. So after a year, you have a different club than you did right now because the culture has changed, because the people have changed. So, and it could be, if you have a large club, Next month, I'm speaking in a club in South Dakota, Sioux Falls, that has 350 people. That type of club, and Atlanta's got 450 people. That type of club, you might want to do an electronic survey. And if you don't like rotary surveys, you can actually take one of those surveys, put it into another type of database, maybe SurveyMonkey. And if you have a small club, you know, back in 96, our average club size was over 60. Today, worldwide, it's 31. If you have 15 members, maybe you just pick up the phone and call them. And it could be as simple as, do you like where we meet? Do you like when we meet? Do you like how we meet, you know, virtually or in person? Do you like our socials? Do you like our service projects? It could be that simple. And then they're going to feel, your members are going to feel like they belong because you asked them. Now, if you actually make one of those changes, then that's great. And the survey does another thing. If you're having a problem in your club, you know, doing a survey could solve that problem. I remember last year I had a president from a club in my area, and he said that half of the people wanted to do away with the four-way test. And I was like, well, you know, are you sure? And he goes, well, you know, it seems like half and half. Well, I said, why don't you do a survey, then come back to me and we could talk about it. He did the survey, and only 2 members, and I had most of the members participate, good response rate. Only 2 members wanted to do away with the four-way test, but they just happened to be more vocal than the other members. So that's a way that in your districts and zones and clubs, you can solve problems by doing that assessment. So now comes my all-time favorite part of any kind of get-together, is answering your questions. Because I want you to leave today with the knowledge you came seeking. So please, I'm going to stop sharing here. Please ask whatever questions you have, and I'd love to get a lot of them.
Great. Thank you so much, Tom. Very impressive. You raised up some very important points that need to be discussed and need to be thought about. We need to think about them. So we'll start the questions. I see Dr. Duffer has his hand raised. Dr. Duffer,
thank you, Ahmed. Thank you, Ahmed, my friend. First of all, PDG, Tom, thank you very much. It was a wonderful presentation and very enlightening, and there are a lot of information that we can learn from this evening. I just want to add, if I may, on your three ways that you have talked about, that how to grow membership in a club. My fourth one, if it is called the fourth one, I believe that it's really important that I really believe that the reputation of and the public image of the club, of a healthy club, it has to be a healthy club. The family atmosphere, which you have mentioned, all these are important points. And the most important thing is leadership. The presidents of clubs are supposed to be really leaders, not just managers. They don't manage a club, they lead a club. If they cannot have a club, they lead a club as a family and make sure that everybody, as you said, are engaged, and they feel they become loyal if they feel that they are engaged. If they don't become engaged, they will run away. And the programs you present, I agree with you. We have to have a assessment, continuous assessment, to know what our members want. It has to look democratic. If it is not in a democratic way, if a president thinks that I have the answers to all the questions, we're in big trouble. We have a club that is in big trouble. So I feel, even when you talked about new clubs, I agree with you. Like your son has gone for an eco club. I think these are the clubs. They have, the new clubs have to be specialized clubs that focus, and then we leave them alone, do their job, and they will do it well. And I am thinking maybe in Bahrain one day, and my dream to have an eco club, because I feel that the environment is vital for our future. I don't want to take too long, but I just wanted to thank you again. and say that these are just few remarks I'd like to share with you, Tom. Thank you.
Yep. And I'm really glad you shared those remarks because they're very important. I like the fact that you said growing the clubs, because Rotary does happen at the club level. If we're going to grow, all our clubs have to grow. It doesn't, no matter what we say at Rotary International, it has to be the clubs that do it. Public image is so, so important. And you're so lucky to have Najid in your area and his team, and what you do with the video awards for goodness and those kind of things, I would say rival anything that I've seen anywhere in the world. It definitely, family's important. And leadership's important too. And in the all-person survey that is taken by all member surveys, taken by Rotaractors and Rotarians, leadership is especially important for Rotaractors as to why they stay in Rotary. And we've all seen clubs with a good leader and you have a good year. And if you have a bad leader, and programs are important in Bahrain, they're important all around the world. So thank you for those comments. Appreciate
Thank you, Tom. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Dolfer. Thank you, Tom. We have three hands raised. We'll start with Niveen Yassa from Canada, and then our governor-elect, Hussam Farahat, and then pass this to Governor Abdulhamid Al-Awa. Niveen, please.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for inviting us to this talk. I have a question for Tom. I have heard through Rotary International that there is something called Action Plan Champion, which Rotary International is suggesting that this will be, I don't know, and you can help me here, on the district level or on clubs level, which in a way is to encourage or inform the Rotarians and members and others about Rotary. Can you help me here?
Absolutely. And thank you so much for asking that question. So we're in the 5th year of our action plan. It was a strategic plan, but now it's actually in action. We are people of action. And it starts with the vision statement. It starts with those 4 action plan priorities. But what we're finding out is, like I said before, Rotary doesn't happen on the 18th floor of headquarters in Evanston. I know I have a little desk in the president's office. It happens in the club. So how do we get it in the club? Well, I'll tell you, it's all of our parts to talk about it. But there is an official structure. And President Stephanie appointed Director Chris Etienne to pick people in the zones. And they're supposed to be picking action plan champions in the districts. And if you don't have one, we could let you know who your zone person is. I can fix you up with Director Chris, and we'll get that done. But all of us need to take a part in it. I'll tell you, I was so happy during the international convention. I was leading a breakout session on the strategic plan, the action plan. And my president from my club here in Minneapolis came. He had never heard about the action plan before, but he saw my name on the agenda, so he came. When I came back to Minneapolis at our first meeting in July, he put up on the PowerPoint presentation his plan for the year, and it was all divided up by the action plan. That worked because we talked about it. I was happy we have in North America and other places in the world something called PETS, President-elect Training Seminars. And there's an alliance, a multi-district PETS alliance, where the organizers of the big PETS events around the world come to headquarters, and we talk about curriculum. We talk about problems that they have and how to solve them. This year, it was nice that Andrea Krause, we invited her. She's a member from Zone 29, the Strategic Action Plan. She was a learning facilitator at IA this year. She came and said, and I loved it, we have to take the 3-legged stool and we need to get rid of it. The 3-legged stool said, we need to look at membership, we need to look at foundation, we need to look at growing membership. But the action plan priorities get deeper and explain how we do it and how we do it with a participant-centered approach. So if we get to those conveners and they get to their president-elects, then it'll get to the clubs. We're going to have impact if we get the message. But, I'm hearing lots of good messages and I'm hearing clear messages, but we have to be committed to getting that clear message to the clubs. Because if we don't, we're not going to be able to do anything. So thank you, Naveen, for that wonderful question.
Thank you, Naveen. Thank you, Tom. We'll take our next question from our district governor-elect, Hussam Farhat.
Thank you very much, PDG Ahmed. It's always a pleasure to see all of you over here. Thank you, PDG Tom. Your presentation is so precise and concise. So it's a beautiful thing. If I may add, we have to attract youth to Rotary. This is the arena that we should focus on. Attracting youth, we need to address them in a way that they can understand. We have to go deeper into the social media, the podcasting, this kind of stuff that helps them to get more engaged into what we are doing. So I can again recommend that we generate a program or maybe best practice for attracting youth to Rotary. Tell me, what do you think about this?
I think you're 100% correct. Let me tell you a few of the things that Rotary International is doing now and what it plans to do in the near future. So right now, Rotaract is on a computer platform that is PeopleSoft. Rotarians are on Oracle. That's being put into one system so that various third-party vendors, in my part of the world, it's like DACDB and Club Runner, can actually interact. Because right now, our Rotaractors get frustrated because they can't get the information they need. That'll help in that area. You know, we have elevated Rotaract to now they're a full member type. So they have many things, almost all things that Rotarians can have. They can actually apply for grants on their own without a sponsoring club. They're eligible and have won the Service Above Self Award. They're eligible to win the Sylvia Whitlock Award. They're able to actually participate in committees and some years participate as presidential reps. They have a lot of things they can do. There's certain things that they can't do right now, which is serve as a district governor. And of course, you have to be a district governor, be a director. But Stephanie, President Stephanie, has actually convened a committee to study Rotaract. It's being run by Hans Herman, who's her vice president, and they're going to do more studies on that. We need to tell, and I'm a huge Rotaract supporter, and that's why I've decided since I've been on this call, I'm actually going to join my son's club as a Rotaractor, because you can be a Rotarian and Rotaractor, because I want to hear from them. And I do audit committees, I go to committees and I hear their voice, but I want to know what problems they're facing. And the only way to do that is to live through it. So thank you for getting me there. And what we have to do is we have to see this for what it is. What it is it's an investment. And, you know, if you compare the dollars, it's not much talked about, but it actually costs more money. And I shouldn't say this on a recording, but I am. It costs more money to run the Rotaract problem than we get in dues collection. However, I am so proud of our Rotaractors. The number has just been disclosed to me last week of how much they gave to the foundation, and collectively they gave $390,000 to the collection. I can tell you, when I ran my institute, I'm in Minneapolis, but I ran the institute in Houston a few years ago. I raised money, $30,000 in my district, to bring Rotaractors to that event. And I cannot tell you how much energy we had from those 20 Rotaractors that attended. It was near Halloween, which is, I don't know, do you celebrate Halloween in Egypt?
Yes. Well, yes and no.
They had a costume contest. They got a Facebook group, a WhatsApp group. They just added so much energy. And I was glad to hear that the board of directors recently said that every director from each zone will be able to appoint a Rotaractor to go to the next assembly in February of next year. So the way I look at Rotaract is, and Interact, and Early Act, and Interwheel, and a lot of those programs is, it's an investment. It is worth our time to invest. And we need not to look, of course, we have to be fiscally responsible, but we need to treat it like it is. And that's, we need to invest in our future. So hopefully that won't get me in trouble, but that's how I see it.
That's great.
Thank you.
More trouble.
For the question.
Thank you, Tom.
we have 4 participants lined up with questions. We'll take the first question from past District Governor Abdul Hamid, who happens to be a former Rotaractor as well. So, Abdul Hamid, can you just unmute yourself, please?
Yes. Thank you so much, PDG Ahmed Saada. Yes, we were not only, I was not only a former Rotaractor, but I was with Ahmed in the same Rotaractor club. And that was many, many, many years ago. Can we say how many years, Ahmed?
2 or 3 years ago.
Oh, that's not true. It's like 30 years.
More than that.
more than 30 years. Thank you very much, G. Tom, for your very informative session. I just want to point out a couple of things. The first thing is members leaving Rotary clubs. This is very critical, and we should address this I believe, in another way. There has to be some sort of a resignation letter, or like a survey, or an exit report that the member has to sign and write what is the real reason for like leaving the club. There was a small survey that has been done by Rotary a couple of years ago, and it says that the percentage of why Rotarians are leaving Rotary is as follows. 31% are saying they're leaving Rotary because it's too expensive and it's taking too much time. 21% are saying that the club environment is not like suitable and they were not enjoying themselves in the club. 15% were saying that we did not meet the expectation. I mean, unmet expectations. That was the reason. They went to a project and didn't find what they expected. The problem is 43% of all the members who left Rotary would not recommend their club for anyone else. And the very serious thing is that 35% of these members who left Rotary would not recommend Rotary at all. And this is very serious. I mean, we have to know the real reason, and we have to work on that, and we have to like find a solution, and not everyone has to like leave Rotary with like not being happy. The second thing I want to talk about is very quickly is, as I've just said, Ahmed and I were at the same Rotaract club at more than 35 years ago, let's say 40 years ago. And we had a very, very great time being Rotaractors. But things are like different now. Now, the problem with attracting young professionals or young leaders is like persisting. Either because like there are like financial reasons, or the time commitment, or something very serious, which is the oppressive culture that Rotarians do during the meeting. We ask the Rotaractors to sit here and listen to what are we going to say. That is it. We forget always that now young leaders are like CEOs in big multinational companies in their 20s. And we like still want to direct them the way that like we used to do way long time ago. And that has to be changed. Sorry for being, talking too much. Thank you so much for your time.
So thank you very much for bringing up those points, and they're very valid points. And again, the surveys show, and we're going to get new surveys soon here, but the surveys show that the number one reason younger people leave is because they're not getting enough networking with people in their industry, and they're not seeing enough leadership. You know, Rotarians and Rotaractors join for some of the same reasons and for different reasons, and they leave for different reasons. But Rotaractors especially leave when they feel they don't have a good club president and they feel like they don't have networking abilities and they're not getting leadership development. So we need to work on all of that. And one of the best ways to do that is to do a survey. And if we can't give them what they need, maybe we start a satellite club off of the traditional club so they can have Rotary their way. Because I mean, there's potential people of action out there that we can reach out and bring them in with global grants and district grants, but we need to let them do it the way they want to do it. So thank you very much for bringing up those points. And one thing about the survey, the exit survey, though, I think exit surveys are good, but when Stephanie and I did an in-depth study of when's the best time to do a survey. So exit studies can be very helpful, but at the same time, they're given when people are leaving. And what the vast amount of research shows is that people aren't honest for why they are really leaving, even if they have to sign it. They may even be less honest if they have to sign it. But also, it's given so late in the process, we can't change our culture or the issue before they leave. So I think exit surveys are good, but we have to do other surveys as well. But thank you for bringing that up.
Great question, Abdulhamid. Thank you so much. Now we'll take questions according to the sequence I have on my screen. We'll take first questions from Dr. Jacqueline Wilson, and then Grace Van Zyl, then Adrian, then Claudia, then Richard. All right, so Dr. Jacqueline, please go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Ahmed Saada, for being coordinator of this session. I am very delighted to see PDG Tom GUMP today, and all the time I have to mention that you were and you still be our mentor of the first e-club here in Egypt, and you are accessible all the time. Thank you for receiving our comments and advice all the time. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your efforts. But I have two questions today. The first related to the e-club. Could e-club have a coast-based satellite club? This is the first question. Or if the e-club is general, we have to do a general satellite club. This is my first question. The second, regarding the expansion of our reach to other Arab countries with no Rotary, like Kuwait, like Saudi Arabia, and so on. What's your advice regarding initiating or originating a satellite club in these countries? Thank you.
Thank you. So first of all, there's a lot going on with e-clubs. There was a gentleman, a doctor from Switzerland, who wanted to get more involved in e-clubs just within the last few weeks. So I fixed him up with the e-club fellowship, and they're starting a group where e-clubs can get together to talk about the issues that just e-clubs have. You know, we found out in our district that the e-clubs actually have different issues facing them than the in-person clubs. So they have their own assistant governor and they have their own meetings. You know, Jacqueline, whatever works, you should do. You know, we are, with the numbers that I put up there, we are, I can say this among these leaders, I wouldn't say in every audience, but membership, we're in a crisis in Rotary because we're not trying enough new things. If it works, go ahead and do it. I know we have a code of policies, 585 pages, and the unwritten rules are probably 5,000 if you actually wrote them out. But we need to not focus on the rules. We need to focus on what works for a club, and then we'll get the rules situated so that works. Can an e-club have another e-club? Absolutely. Do we need to reach out to these other clubs? You know, in some ways, what's happening in certain areas of the world where governments are taking over Catholic Church assets and some Rotary clubs and their assets. We don't have to worry about that with an e-club, right? Because an e-club doesn't have physical assets in these countries. I would say e-clubs are needed now more than ever. We have a tendency in Rotary to think about we do it this way. A few years back, I introduced legislation, the council legislation, saying we need 4 e-clubs was one of the reasons I was thinking we don't need 20 members to start a club, because I can tell you the e-clubs we start with 15 members are growing faster than our other clubs. Of course, I checked with staff, they liked it. Eventually it got passed by my district. It was going to be considered on the floor of COL. Then I got a call from a trustee who was a liaison to the board of directors, and they said, well, you need to pull this legislation because we don't want our directors to feel like they're anti-growth because they didn't come up with this idea. So now I work through the membership subcommittee, through the membership committee, and now the directors are supporting it's going to the next COL. Why do I say that? I say that because we need to stop thinking it takes this many people to do this because that's the way it's always been. We need to think like Dr. Jacqueline, I'm going to start a club of doctors from all around the world, even though this has never been done before. We don't have an e-club in Egypt. We're going to do that. And you reached out and we all got together and we got it done. Keep on reaching out, Dr. Jacqueline. Keep on doing these things. Don't worry that it hasn't been done before, because our strategic plan, that 4th action plan priority, says adapt. Well, I kept hearing our last question about engagement. And I remember when I started a Rotary Community Corps, brought 5 clubs together in my district, we thought we were going to grow Rotary by having these Afghan refugees become members of our clubs. And they did. But it was more engagement because these 5 clubs, we had people in those clubs. You know how it is in your club. They start not coming to meetings and they don't come to socials and they kind of drift away. When we started a new fundraiser, a new project, this Rotary Community Corps, people loved it and we kept a bunch of our members. And then our reputation in the community grew because we had the mayor, we had all these businesses come in. So what I'm saying is you got to try new things. And I know it's hard when you're a president of a club or you're a district governor to try something new. But if we don't try new, no one else will try new, and we won't be able to adapt and innovate. So.
Thank you.
And before we move on, can we have Naveen tell us about the Rotary Action Group for Artificial Intelligence? Because I think this is a good example that would help Dr. Jacqueline answer Dr. Jacqueline's question.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're on the spot.
Okay. Okay. Actually, how many? Not last summer, the summer before. Actually, not this summer, the last summer. During our, what happened was that during our conference, we were having a talk about the artificial intelligence and how things are needed, because actually this is something that one of the reasons that sometimes Rotary is a little bit dragging behind in membership is because it's not up to date for the young generation. And one of the things that we find that everybody is talking about is AI. So with artificial intelligence, Rotary needs to be ahead the curve. So here we are. It was Mariam, Nancy, and then we found with us also Anne-Marie. We talked together, and we had Jitendra from India and Nijat from Bahrain. And then we have Tom with us on the board of directors. We thought that we need to start an action group. And we have Bill from the States. So we have different continents together. We are now, we have been working for a while on this for nearly a year. We presented to the board of directors now. I hope that in the October, we are going to have our application accepted. And actually, when we are talking about the Rotor actors, guess the secretary of the action group is a Rotor actor. and he has been working very hard with us, and he has been actually working as the secretary and also doing a lot of work either with the district or also helping with the district governors using AI. So AI, actually, this is one of the reasons we thought that when we pull ourselves together, we are not reaching only for Rotarians, because an action group is not only for Rotarians. This is the good thing about action groups. Action groups are for non-Rotarians as well. Even on the board of directors, based on the Rotary regulations and bylaws, you can have up to 10%, 20% of the board of directors, non-Rotarians. So this is a means of attracting new members. We have been working on a series of awareness on AI, on learning the tools of AI, and actually tomorrow we have another session. So we have been doing this for the last year, and we haven't given up. We have been presenting, and then more papers, and then representing it. So not giving up, having friends from all over is very important. And actually, I'm inviting everyone to actually join us and to attend, to learn more. And as I said, we need to know more about artificial intelligence and how it can help us. And this is what we are working on, how it can help us in working up on our grants, how it helps us in putting together what is needed for the best service that we are offering to our community. And definitely the AI RAG is pulling members and fellows from all over the continent. And I'm really proud of it. And I'm thanking all the board. I mean, several from the board are here, and I'm really proud we are all together from the different countries. And thank you, Tom, for also being with us on board.
So thank you, Naveen. So why is that important? You know, these issues, like artificial intelligence is a great example. They come up at board meetings. You know, like if you're on the audit committee, they'll say, this is a huge risk. If you're in the technology committee, we need to do something about this. But the reason I bring this up is because we are Rotary. All of you on the screen, we are Rotary. We can't expect when people say, well, Rotary International needs to do this, Rotary International needs to do that. If things need to be done, we need to be done. This group will advise the various committees, finance, audit, strategic plan, operation review committee, about something that's very important. I mean, I think of grants and I watch the number of grants that are being applied for every year go down. I just think, what if a community needs assessment could be done on this? What if the impact could be? We've had several guests here today say we need to measure the impact. And PDG George said that. Of course, artificial intelligence can help us. So don't be afraid to do something and call us for help, but we can't wait for someone else to do it. The people on the screen have to do it. We have to do it in Egypt.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you so much for your input and feedback about the artificial intelligence. Actually, we need to arrange for a meeting, and you can talk to us more about artificial intelligence and the new Rotary Action Group. Now we'll take a question from DGN Grace Van Zyl.
Thank you very much, Ahmed. And Tom, it's wonderful to see you again online. We've had some really, really good interactions. And firstly, thank you to Naveen for reaching out to us and giving District 9400 the opportunity to co-host this meeting. Really, really great privilege. Tom, your suggestions and everything are wonderful. And I just want to share something that our club does. So for those that don't know, I'm from the Rotary Club of Johannesburg, the oldest club on the continent of Africa, which comes with its own challenges, because at one stage we were 150 members. The mayor used to be part of our club, and you know, it was really, really a prestigious club. But over the years it has shrunk because a lot of the businesses moved out of Johannesburg. So we had a very, very old club. So our average age was probably sitting at 70. And then we started embarking on trying to attract new members. Our lead system, we worked very well. And I need to just tell everybody on the screen that if you haven't worked your lead system, and even if those leads came in 3 years ago, go back to them and work on them, because we managed to recruit about 8 members from the leads that went way back. But what we've done in recent times is to attract younger members, is what we did is we said, let's look at our Rotaract Club and let's look at those Rotaractors that we think can really be brilliant Rotarians. And we sponsored a Rotaractor. So every member would pay 100 Rand. In our country, it's rands, but we would pay 100 Rand extra on our dues, and that 100 Rand extra would actually pay the dues of that Rotaractor. And we brought them in, put them on committees, and mentored them to the extent, well, they had dual membership. So they stayed Rotaractors and they became Rotarians. The success story there is we currently have a 29-year-old Rotarian, that is the president of our club, because we have mentored him. And I think that we need to put that investment into our youth. The other challenge that we have with bringing in, so currently our average age is about just under 50. So we brought it down from 70 to just under 50, which is great. But the challenge is that fellowship becomes a real challenge, because you've got such a diverse club. You've got them from all over Africa. You've got them different age groups, different cultures. So we got stuck on this fellowship. And what we realized is that fellowship wasn't that important. Being involved in projects was more important. So when you bring in your young people and you start doing projects, but you bring an element of fellowship within that project, it seems to solve the problem. So I just thought I'd share that with you. Not to say that we still have our challenges and we still need to attract members like every club. What I did want to ask you, Tom, there was 2 questions. One of them is, now that Rotaract has been elevated to the same status as Rotarians, in the past, Rotaractors could qualify for global study exchange. Will they still qualify for that now that they're on the same platform? That's the first question. And now I've forgotten the second question, so you may answer that one.
Okay. Well, yes, they still qualify for that, is my understanding. That's not, even though that they've been elevated, they were able to keep the benefits, and that didn't change. And you are so right. You're not the only large club that has actually shrunk. You know, I meet once a month with President-elect Mario and Brian King to talk about in his year how he's going to address membership. And he is commissioned a study of the clubs that were the largest, basically starting from the oldest and are still large, and the ones that have lost. Because when we travel the world, what we find out is individual clubs that used to be the low numbers, like the 1 through 15 or 1 through 20, used to have hundreds of members in some cases. I had this question in Korea just the other day, and now they're down to dozens instead of hundreds. So I think part of the reason is because when you're the oldest one, in our district, we have club number 9, and that was the first club, and everyone came off it. And for years, they were the ones who did the global grants. They were the club that produced the district governors. But over time, they forget to ask their members what they want. And they tend to say, we've always done it this way. We're going to keep doing this way. This is the right way because we are number 9. And they're wonderful people, and I love that club. But we have to always ask our members what they want. Because remember, Grace, we talked about the culture and how the culture changes because people are coming in and leaving. I mean, that's the real thing. Our club is changing, so we might have to change our practices. Maybe, you know, our club number 9 used to meet at the tallest skyscraper overlooking downtown Minneapolis. Now they're meeting the Minneapolis Club. But a lot of their members no longer work downtown anymore. So maybe it's a kind of situation where we don't meet 4 times a month. Maybe we only meet twice a month. Maybe we meet where the food isn't so expensive. So we got to keep on assessing because those things change.
Thanks, Tom. I remembered the other question. So with the new lead system, So we have just in the town that I live, although I'm with Johannesburg, I live in Benoni, and we have 3 clubs in Benoni. 2 of them meet in the evenings, one of them meets, no, all 3 of them actually meet in the evenings now. We also have in the greater Johannesburg, we have many clubs. Some of them meet on the same evening. Some of them meet in the morning. So how will that lead system treat those clubs fairly when you allocate a lead to a specific club?
That's a very good question. How do they even know which club does what? So they've been running a number of pilot situations, not officially approved by COL pilot, but what we refer to as a pilot, to go to each of the clubs and have them self-identify as to what they are doing and what type of situation would best fit somebody coming in. Are you a club that does more socials, or are you a club that does more projects? Are you a club that has younger people? What's your average age? So the computer is actually going to know before it makes those assignments. But of course, when it comes to the club, if it comes to an evening club that you think they would be a better fit for somewhere else, we all as Rotarians have to say, okay, you would be better at this club as opposed to here. It suits your needs better. So there's always going to be that human factor. We just don't want the leads coming in electronically to be lost. And so this, we feel like getting it to the club, they know better. The farther you get removed from the club, the less likely you know what those clubs are about. And we think going to the district, maybe the district doesn't know their own clubs as well, especially as we have district governors. Some of them are leaning towards having group meetings instead of individual club visits. Some are not doing them at all, even though it's in the code of policies that you need to have club visits. So we're just adapting, and we believe it's going to work much better. But no system's perfect.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Grace. Looking forward to seeing you in Mauritius next month. Now we move forward to Adrian Brewer from the UK, and then Claudia Henry from Switzerland.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody, 199 people. Hello, I've been to a number of Tom's presentations and discussions and groups. I think one of the things I would like to point out, I joined on the 23rd of February, 2012, a very important day in Rotary, as you know. And one of the things that has occurred to me over the last 12 or 13 years is that most of the people that I sat with, I don't sit with them anymore, but most of the people I sat with were of my age group. And what's happened is they've died off. Right? We grew as an organization after the war. We grew as an organization from the baby boom of the late 40s, 50s, and 60s, and those people are now dying off. So some of our loss, if you like, is a natural thing. It's a thing that's different, and to replace it with less people because we haven't had that influx of birth rates over the years, that's quite difficult. But coming to Rotaract, I know a lot of Rotaractors. I'm in the UK. I've been involved with Rotaract in the UK. We've done projects together and whatever. One of the things I have found is that when the Rotary changed the rules about Rotaractors, that was another thing they did. Rotaractors decided to stay as Rotaractors or just left. What we seem to not be able to do is convert their Rotaract into Rotarians. That's the hard part. And I'm not sure that it's to do with money. I don't think it's to do with money. I think it's to do with there's still this lack of engagement in a club. And Rotaractors, something that really upsets me, but I find difficult to take is every time someone says, well, why don't people join Rotary? It was because it's too expensive. They haven't got enough time. They're all busy. We've been busy and it's been expensive, and we hadn't had enough time for the last 40 years. Nothing's changed in that area, right? It's just an excuse. My club is an E-club. I'm in an E-club now. And Tom knows about it because he's friends with my Martin Brocklebank. But in my club, we've grown to 53 members. But the 53 members we've got, right, I don't see half of them. That is an issue for me because I do feel that there's another group in direct membership of Rotary. I'm not sure that those people are actually doing anything, if you like. I joined Rotary to make a difference. In fact, I didn't join Rotary to make a difference. it was a privilege because I was invited, and I thought it was a privilege to be a member of Rotary. I still think it's a privilege, but I think that we don't seem to have the panacea for growing Rotary. And sometimes I often think maybe we should just stick with what we've got and make it better rather than trying to increase the income and whatever we try to do. So I'd rather have 1 million brilliant members than 2 million people who don't do anything. So, and I know that I speak for a lot of people because I've got a lot of friends who, feel the same way. So, and the problem with Rotary, as I see it, and I was told that we were trying to turn the tanker around. This was in 2012. We still haven't turned the tanker around. That's a problem. So, and in Asia, it's growing brilliantly. In the West, right? In the West, I use those in quotes, right? It's not. So, I think we need to. I think Rotaract is an answer. It's definitely an answer. If we can just convert those Rotaractors into Rotarians, and then they can go and get new people to be Rotaractors. So don't grow Rotaract, grow Rotary. Thank you.
Sorry, well, Adrian, you're a wonderful Rotarian, and I always love listening to your comments. And I think you're right. And it's interesting to me, as you go around the world, the clubs are different. If you were talking about culture in Thailand, they're very much, we respect our elders. We're not going to propose any changes. So a district that's 2,500 people, they might have 120 clubs. Now, you go to somewhere else around the world where they want change, Vietnam, they're like, we're going to constantly change our clubs. So they might have 2,500 members, but they only have 70 clubs. So Adrian, you're absolutely right. We need to, and there's some studies, I told you about that group Stephanie put together. They're going to be studying also how Rotaractors, how do we motivate them to switch over to Rotarians? But it seems to me that if we have people start clubs exactly what the club that they want, they'll stay. It's interesting. We have a lot of talk, especially in North America, about diversity, equity, and inclusion and belonging. But I know from the new clubs that we started, the new clubs are more diverse than our older clubs. And I'm not saying we can't make our current clubs more diverse, but the new clubs are just different because they want to serve with other people with different thoughts and that kind of thing. So I really do believe starting new clubs can help us grow, and we can still keep our clubs the way they are. Does that make sense?
But do you remember, Tom, that I wrote? Do you remember I wrote to you many moons ago when I tried to start a club, and they fought me tooth and nail, and they won. The district won, the local people won, the local Rotarians won, and in the end, I gave up and went and joined an e-club.
I remember that, and I remember when I tried to start my first club, and it was that Veterans Club. And I remember for 10 years, cause-based clubs, I tried to say we need cause-based clubs because I knew there were people who just wanted to do the environment. And Adrian, they told me no, because we'll have gun rights clubs, and we'll have pro-choice clubs, and we'll have pro-life clubs. And I said, no, it's not political. It's about service. The Veterans Club, it's not about being a veteran. It's about serving veterans, and there's non-veterans in there. So I know I say that still we need to work on bringing more people into Rotary, and let's let them serve the way they want to serve. I mean, when we started that Veterans Club, Adrian, that first project they did was rehabbing the first floor of a homeless vet's home. And they raised $20,000 along with our district grant. But they did it totally different than I would. They went to the Elks Club, and they went to the Lions Club, and they asked them for money, not just other Rotary clubs. And I went to those Rotary clubs. So it's interesting how they can be just as much a Rotarian, even if they do it differently than us. I heard that about younger people might not want to do a meeting. They might want to just go to a park and plant trees. I say that's okay. We don't have to be Pavlovian and do everything the way we always had. That's not saying that I don't love our traditional clubs because they're the backbone of Rotary. But I just think to reach more people and to, like we said in the beginning, remember what George said, the hands and hearts of Rotary. We're growing Rotary to have more people to do service, to be engaged. Let them serve, let them meet the way they want to meet, even if it's not a meeting.
Do you feel my pain, Tom? Do you feel my pain, Tom? Do you feel my pain?
I have, but I don't want to focus on the pain. I want to focus on the success because I can give you stories of dozens of clubs that started around the world that weren't hard. And, maybe Dr. Jacqueline could tell us how she started hers. There was another lady from India who started a similar club, which were batchmates. Her high school buddies started a club. Sheikha Mehta was actually in that school that she went to. They're doing great things. She no longer lives in India. She now lives in Boston. But for as much pain as we had, Adrian, there's a lot of examples of where it's been very successful.
I know. I don't give up. Thank you.
No, yeah. Adrian, I'll tell you, I tried to join Rotary in 1996 in Gainesville, Georgia, as assistant district attorney, and they would not let me join because the classification, I was in the district attorney's office and the law enforcement classification was already taken. So I had to wait 17 years to join Rotary. And what that taught me was they could have me working for free for an extra 17 years. But they're getting it out of me now, so it's okay. But what my point is, I learned to be persistent, even though Rotary's not perfect. But we have a lot of great people doing a lot of great things.
We do.
I would support of any other organization. But
join my poetry competition.
Okay.
Yeah, you always do a great job. Thanks for all you do.
Speak to you.
Thank you, Adrian.
Thank you, Ahmed.
Thank you. Tom, maybe you should have, it would have been easier to make a career shift instead of waiting for 17 years. Have another classification, a new classification. Okay, we'll take a question from past District Governor Claudia Henry from Switzerland. Claudia.
Thank you, Ahmed. And thank you, Tom, for great information and very inspiring. I just have a short question. As Adrian mentioned just before, and one of your first slides was we're showing the numbers, membership numbers in different regions. And there it was obvious that Asia over the last 10 years was growing and was the only region actually growing. Do we know any data of like which country was growing so dramatically? And what was the reason? Do we have any information what they do different that they have such a growth in Asia? Thank you.
So there's different factors around the world that affect growth. But what we're finding out is where there's areas of the world that have a rising middle class, Rotary seems to be growing. And in areas like North America, where the middle class is shrinking, we tend to be losing. It does seem that some countries who have dictatorial regimes, Rotary is a very trusted entity, and they seem to grow more in those areas because they want a group that they can trust and get information from a group that they can trust. It's not all about income. We have examples in Africa where things are growing really quickly. We have areas like Ukraine, even in the middle of a war, they're growing. Now, when you dig deep into that, they're not charging dues right now because of conflict. Sometimes Rotary waives dues in areas where there's war and things like that, which Rotary International did in that case. But it seems to be forming new clubs where there's not existing clubs and letting people serve the way they want to serve is the overall answer. I mean, mostly the Southern Hemisphere is growing. Not New Zealand right now, but we have the pilot project. Northern Hemisphere is not growing. So when you just look at it, it sounds pretty simple, and it really is. Where you're starting clubs, they're growing. And when they're just not starting clubs and just letting the other clubs go away. So it seems to be there's an evolution. Not that we should do away with our existing clubs, but if we start new clubs, they can be what the people joining them make them be. They come with their own culture. I mean, it's really hard, Claudia, to change culture because nobody likes change except a baby with a white diaper. They like change. But if we want to really include people, sometimes it's easier to give birth than to raise the dead. So new clubs can exist and coexist with our existing clubs.
Great. Thank you, Claudia. Great question. Now, I received a notification from Naveen, our AI lady, that we are running out of time. So if Tom, if your time allows for one last question, we can take a question from a Rotaract member for a change. Is that okay?
That would be fantastic.
Okay. So we have Nada. She's the president of the Rotaract Club of ElTahrir. Nada, you can unmute yourself. Yep.
Hello, everyone. I am Dr. Nada Sirsawi, President of RC ElTahrir from Egypt. I wanted to add something really quickly, that I see that Rotary is the source of water, and us as Rotary actors are the flowers, that we need this water in order to flourish and learn from them. And actually, Rotary has a crucial role for us to grow and to be able to be Rotaries after that one day. Like our logo, the wheel, it rotates, and we Rotary actors will one day rotate to be Rotarians. So thank you so much.
And thank you, Rotaractors, for all you do to bring energy and new ideas and new thoughts that'll help Rotary thrive and survive. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Nada. Tom, I don't know how to thank you. It's been wonderful seeing you again. I know there are a lot of questions. We have maybe a couple of fellow Rotarians. They still have their hands raised, but I have to apologize for them because we really ran out of time. But if you don't mind, Tom, we can send you the questions.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for your time. It's been inspiring. If I knew that we had that many questions, maybe Naveen, we should have charged them something like a donation to the Rotary Foundation for each question. For each question.
For each
Thank you so
question, a
much.
donation. Yes.
Yes, yeah. Whoever is
I donate enough already, thank you.
You're off the hook. Thank you so much, Tom. It's been very inspiring. Thank you so much, Naveen. Thank you, Rotary Club of ElTahrir and all the co-hosts. And I'll just leave it to you, Naveen, for a wrap-up. Back to you, Naveen.
Okay. Thank you all. And thank you, Ahmed, for this excellent navigation between the questions and the speaker. And thank you, Tom, for all your time. And I do believe, yes, as a comment that was said, the Q&A session actually added a lot to the magnificence of this presentation, because it's always the Q&A that actually becomes the icing on top of the cake and the cherry on top of the cake that makes the whole difference and shows the practicality of what we have as an input in the beginning. And I'm really looking forward to maybe more sessions, Tom. Maybe we can think of how we can grow Rotaract and Rotary, just Q&A. Maybe we can think of all the questions that we can think about. And I was just thinking of something, Tom, maybe part of membership, how we can make it different. Maybe I know that Australia now, they are working on the new methods and the new system of Rotary. So maybe this is something that we can do, how they can reflect on their experience, how is it making a difference? Is it really helping the membership, helping the leadership in leading better or with more impact? Because I think that's important. So maybe this is one thing that we can work on for our coming session. So
and there are Rotaractors doing amazing things around the world. I was speaking to a group in the Philippines in a week or so. You know, we can bring forward a panel of Rotaractors, and we can interview them. There's all kinds of things we can do. And
okay.
like I said, as long as we talk about it, it'll help.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so I'd like to thank everybody, and I thank also our Honorary Secretary, Hadi, for his introduction and the art of work that he has been working on, and all the clubs that have been working with us, and looking forward to our next sessions. And then I will hand it on to our President Mohammed Kamal to for the closing. Thank you. I think you need to unmute yourself, ya Mohammed.
Thanks, Nevin, for the great session.
Thank you.
It was wonderful.
Thank you.
I just would have loved asking Tom
Thank
a
you
few
very
questions.
much, Tom, for this great session. Of course, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you very much for this.
Tom,
great...
nice seeing you.
Great seeing all of you. Yes, thank you.
I've got a very bad connection, Tom. I wish to thank you again. It was a great session, most enlightening questions regarding the membership issues that we need to address over and over and over again. And I really wish to thank every single person that participated here, really from the bottom of my heart. I wish to thank Naveen for being able to arrange this great session also. I wish to thank also Post District Governor Ahmed Saada for being such a great moderator. And thank you everyone really for participating. And looking forward for much more sessions such as that one, Tom. Definitely. And we're waiting for you to visit Egypt.
Thank you, Mohammed, so much. It's my honor to be here with all of you today, and I cannot wait to be there in person.
The honor is all ours, honestly. Thank you again. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody.
The bell is,
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.